This is your host, Celso Nolberto, and this is Going After What's Yours, where we give you the principles you need to win in your professional and personal life. On this episode, we'll be discussing building that fits. Building that fits. When we consider what it means to build, oftentimes building is like a puzzle that needs to be put together, a puzzle that has many different parts. Now, knowing what puzzle to put where is the key to building the overall image picture of what those different pieces coming together would create. And when we speak about building, we're talking about beginning with something small, or taking small, or what may seem like small, insignificant pieces and attaching it to something that is greater than that single piece. When it comes to us where building is concerned, whether it is to launch a business, a ministry, creating a podcast, a blog, we need to understand how can we build something that fits in the grand scheme of things. And just like putting the pieces together, we're going to be talking about how can we put these different pieces together when it comes to building. So how can we create something of substance? In other words, how can we create something that has a foundation and something that at the end of the day will be pleasing to God? So number one, we need to identify what it is that we are building. In other words, what's the vision? What is the vision for what I want to build? As it says in the good book, write the vision and make it plain. We need to be able to articulate the vision. We need to be able to write it down. And in writing it down, that will give us the clarity that we need to see the vision. But we need to write the vision. What is it that we want? What is it that we want to build? Once you have created this vision, once you have written it down and you can see it clearly, we need to now then do number two, which is to identify what you need to build. In other words, what resources do we need in order to build what we have seen? What resources we need to build the vision? And as we gather the resources and understand what it is that we're going to need, we need to then do number three, which is to identify the action steps to what we're going to build, or identify the action steps to building. In other words, create goals. We need goals to help us identify where we are in the process. We need to be able to have goals to see how far along we are in the building process. Now, with every goal that we desire to attain, we need to have deadlines, because if not, if we leave it to wishful thinking, or leave it to I know I'm going to do it, and have just simply a mindset that says, you know something, I'm going to achieve it, I'm going to attain it, but there's nothing that's concrete, then we leave things to luck, if I may. We leave things to happenstance, and nothing gets done. So we need to have deadlines, whether it be in the short term or in the long term. When we speak of short-term goals, we're speaking about days and weeks, if I may. And when we speak about long-term goals, we're speaking about months and years. When we have a deadline, it pushes us to a place of urgency to get things done at the time it needs to get done. At the time that particular vision, the particular goal needs to get done. And this is important. Oftentimes, many of us, what we are needing is urgency. And what we may be lacking is a deadline. Begin to add deadlines to the thing you want to reach and accomplish. Oftentimes we hear about, like the curse of the New Year's resolution per se, right? And a lot of people have different resolution or goals that they have for the year, but nothing gets done. Why? Because there's nothing set in stone. We just write down a list of things we want to accomplish and do, but we don't have dates attached to it. The dates make a difference. Now, our topic matter is building that fits. Building that fits. Something that enables our building to have a force behind it, to have a certain power and substance behind it, is having or understanding, number one, what's the purpose behind what you're building. When we're able to identify the purpose, there's going to be an energy behind what you do, because you're not just doing something just to do it. You're not just doing something because you have an idea, but there is a particular purpose. There is a why behind the building. When you have a why behind what you build, you will feel revitalized. You will feel energized. A matter of fact, you can go all day simply doing the thing, and you find that you're not tired. You find that you're not weary. You find yourself in a flow. You find yourself in a place where you are going and doing, and you're being energized by the doing. And that's how you know that there is a strong why behind your building. So knowing the reason why you're building is important. What's the purpose behind what you're building? Number two, what's your purpose? What is your why? Have you identified your why? Could it be because you want your family to be, you want to, generate generational wealth? Or you want your family to have a level of financial freedom? Is it that you want to leave a legacy to your children or generations to come, or people that are inspired by your work and what you do? What's your why? And is your why strong enough? Is it that you're doing something for a loved one, or your mom, or a parent? What's your purpose? Now, when we speak about the purpose behind why you're building, I really now want to bring it down to the level of understanding, why are you here? What's your purpose on the earth? What have you been called to do? Oftentimes, for some, this could be a difficult question to ask. I recall at the age of 16, this was something that I in particular had a struggle with, and I was able to discover that at an early age, and that's the reason why I do what I do. And once again, that's my drive. This is the reason why I thrive and go hard, because I feel that my life, my story, has a purpose, and I want others to experience the awakening of that purpose. I want others to experience the life that comes by having a purpose. If I may, I like to share that discovering my purpose set me free from depression. If I may, I like to also add that discovering my purpose broke off of me a sense of anxiety. The discovering my purpose broke off of me a sense of purposelessness. I was able to discover my why, and it gave me the drive that I need in every area of life and in the things that I do. Now, number three, my question to you is, does your gift lines up with your purpose? Does your gift, what you do, what you're great at, what comes natural to you or naturally to you, does it align with your purpose? And I want to break down the word purpose a little bit. And if you're jotting down and taking notes, this would be a note-taking opportunity. Purpose equal connecting or tying your gift with a need. Purpose equals connecting or tying your gift with a need. Let's say you understand that there's a particular need, whether it be in your neighborhood, whether it be in your community, whether it be in your family, or even in your relationship, whether you see a need in the world, or where business is concerned, or technology, or in the music field, in theater, in education, and so forth and so on. If you're able to see a need and you are able to provide a service, you're able to serve or meet the need with your gift, then that can equate to purpose. And when we are able to find these things, it energizes us, it empowers us, it fuels our purpose. So does your gift line up with your purpose? Oftentimes our gift will line up with our purpose, because our gift speaks of the thing we're called to do, and what enables us to do that thing, and what enables us to do the call, to answer the call and do it well, is the gifting that we have. Your gift is the answer to the call. Your gift is the answer to the purpose. Your gift is the answer to the need. So our gift enables us to carry out our mission, our purpose well. Okay? When there's a strong enough need, or strong enough why, if I may, if you tie your gift to it, you find yourself being a solution to the need. When your building has purpose, the people will come. Mind you, we're talking about how to create something of substance. Well, when your building has purpose behind it, the people will come. There will be passion behind what you do. Your building now becomes contagious. And this speaks of inspiring others. Your impact will increase, as well as your influence, and your gift will make room for you. In other words, doors will open. Doors will open. Now, my question to you all is, how would you build if you knew you were doing it for God? It's possible that serving others could become something of an obligation, could become something, let's say in the area of employment, something that you need to do. And at times it could be that we're basically just doing it to get by, to simply meet the grade, or our gifting is at a sufficient enough level where we can do it and not have too much worry or too much stress about it. So it becomes something mechanical at times. It could become something mundane. It could become something that does not have much worth of value in our eyes, and we kind of half-heartedly do it. But now, what would happen if we understand that we are building for God? The good book teaches us that let us do all things as if we're doing it for God, because we know that He rewards well, and that we serve Him and not human masters. God is the greatest rewarder. We understand that there's an inheritance that comes from Him. But what I want you to see and understand is, when we do it as if we're doing it for God, we're not looking for the applause of people. We're not looking for the applause of men. We're not looking for others to validate us, but we find our validation from God. We find our reward from God. We're not looking for human beings to reward us, so we don't become discouraged when we don't get their applause. We don't become disheartened. We don't become discouraged when man cannot see our value or the effort, the work that we've put in, because we know that God sees us and that He rewards well. We know that God sees us, and if He sees us, that's all that matters. So how would you build if you knew you were doing it for God? As a byproduct, we won't do things half-heartedly, because we know that the tender, loving eyes of God is upon what we do. And now excellence becomes a standard. See, this right here enables us to shift gears. This right here enables us to put on a different, how can I say? It enables us to put on a different lifestyle, a different motivation, a different focus, if I may. And when we have this understanding that what we do is for God, our life changes. We can no longer settle for second best because our desire becomes to give God our absolute best, because we know that He gives us His absolute best every day, every moment, every hour, every second. Excellence then becomes our standard. Excellence then become our. So when we speak of building that fits, this is the kind of building that fits into the grand scheme of what God wants to do on the earth. We're speaking about building on purpose, building with purpose, building because of purpose. We're speaking about allowing your life to flow from a place of honoring the Creator, of honoring God. We're speaking about a life that uses His hands to glorify God. When I say hands, it's symbolic for our work, for the things that we will accomplish, for the things that we will do, for the things that we will build. It speaks of putting God first. And as we put Him first, God now says, you're the right puzzle piece. You're the right strategy for this situation and this circumstance. You're the right individual that I need to place in this organization, in this business, in this restaurant, in this bank. You are the strategy that I need to accomplish my purposes, because we have now embodied the will of God by desiring to do His will. And this becomes secondhand or second nature when we desire to do all things and all that we want, and all that we do as if we're doing it for Him. And this concludes this episode of Going After What's Yours. Today's theme was called Building That Fits. I hope you guys were encouraged and inspired by this episode. And just a reminder, if you do not know your purpose, I need you to understand that my podcast reaches a different range and variety of individuals. Whether it is that we're talking about business, whether it is that we're talking about personal development or finances, career decisions and choices, or we're bringing faith into the mix. But in the midst of all of that, whether you are a person of faith, someone who may be curious or learning, or simply do not mind hearing something positive, I want you to know this. If, number one, you have a purpose and you are a purpose. Number two, you're not an accident. I need you to understand this, gravitate to this, hold this dear and near to your heart. You're not an accident. You're here for a reason. And number three, if you don't know your purpose, simply ask God the Creator, and He will reveal your purpose. For if we ask, we shall receive. If we seek, we will find. And if we knock, the door will be open to us. And this concludes this episode of Going After What's Yours. Going After What's Yours. Once again, if you'd like to support us by donating to this ministry, to this business, to this podcast, you can donate by going to www.celsonolberto.com. www.celsonolberto.com. There you'll find links to donate. Any one of the links will be fine. There's a particular donate button, right, or an option to give on the website. You can also support us by buying a piece of merch, right? A t-shirt, a hoodie. We have different merchandise, even snapback hats and things of that nature. You'll be able to find that also on the website, and different products and services. As you may know, God also called me to the realm of business. So I have my own business called Purpose to Function LLC, where I provide coaching, consulting, and motivational speaking services. There are a few efforts and things that I have created and built, and I'm super excited about it. Most likely I'll be sharing it in the episodes to come, but there are certain things that you can also check out on the website. Once again, that's www.celsoNolberto.com. That's my first and last name.com. All right. But if you're interested in mentorship, simply feel free to reach out. You can DM me on Instagram. If you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, you can do so at Purpose to Function LLC. Once again, you can follow me on Instagram at Purpose to Function _LLC. Purpose to Function _LLC. Send me a DM if you like to receive coaching from me or any of these services. I also have my book on Amazon called well, you'll be able also to see it on the website, right? And it's called Strength to Fight, right? It's on Amazon. You can look me up by simply typing in my name, Celso Nolberto, as well as the name of the book, Strength to Fight, and it'll pop up right away. Well, guys, thank you for your support. Thank you for being on here with me. And to the next episode. I'll see you there. Take care, guys.